We all admire courage, don't we? It's that quality we see often in these huge, dramatic moments, and we think, wow.
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
But I wonder, for you listening, is that really the whole story of what courage is? Because we've been looking into this source, an episode called Courage, the quiet strength that changes everything.
Oh, yeah, from the English podcast show, Life, Growth, and Grit with Rachel and David.
That's the one. And, well, it suggests there's a whole other side to it.
It really does. I mean, when you dig into what they're saying, it kind of challenges that whole idea that courage is only, this big flashy thing.
Right.
They bring this perspective where it's much more woven into, well, just everyday life
Yeah.
in ways we might not even notice.
Okay, so our mission here then, in this deep dive, is to sort of pull out those key insights from Rachel and David for you.
Exactly. To help you get maybe a clearer sense of what courage really means and, why it matters so much.
Yeah, because honestly, their conversation really shifted things for me. You know, how we tend to put courage way up high. Like it's only for these extraordinary acts.
Firefighters, yeah, rushing into buildings.
Totally, which is undeniably courageous, no question. But they made me realize courage pops up in so many of the smaller moments too, the ones that need just as much inner strength.
That's a great point. They really emphasize that it's often found in those quieter spots. Like, think about the courage it takes for you to actually have that maybe awkward conversation you've been putting off.
Mm-hmm.
Or just to, stand firm and say no when you feel pressured. These aren't making headlines, right? But they take real guts.
And the fear thing, that really hit me. Rachel just put it so simply. Something like, courage isn't the absence of fear.
It's moving forward despite the fear.
Yeah.
It's not about being fearless at all.
It's about what you do next, isn't it?
That's absolutely the core of it.
Okay.
And David, he brought in that Nelson Mandela quote, which is just so powerful.
Well, yeah, remind me.
I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear.
Wow.
So for you, the listener, that means courage isn't about like waiting till the fear disappears.
Yeah.
It's about doing the thing even when your knees are knocking,
It just completely reframes it. Fear is almost expected. It's human. Courage is the choice you make after the fear shows up.
Uh-huh.
And Rachel also talked about values, right? How important your own values are in this. Acting in line with what you believe, even if it's hard.
Precisely. It connects courage right back to your internal compass, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It stops being just about reacting to what's happening out there and becomes about making choices that reflect who you really are, what you stand for, even if those choices are risky or, well, uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're getting here is this picture of courage as multifaceted. It shows up everywhere in everyday stuff, driven by your values, even when you're feeling scared.
Okay, so if it's not just this thing some people are born with, like a superpower, can you actually, develop it? Can you, the listener, build up your courage, like exercise it?
Yeah, and that's a really hopeful part of their discussion.
Right.
Both Rachel and David seemed pretty convinced that courage is something you can cultivate. You can grow it.
Okay.
David used that analogy, which I thought was great, comparing it to building muscle.
Oh, I like that. How does that work then? Building courage like a muscle?
Well, you wouldn't just walk into a gym and try to lift like 300 pounds cold, right?
Definitely not.
You start smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with courage. David suggested starting with consistent, smaller actions.
Yeah.
Things relevant to your life, like speaking up at a meeting if you have an idea.
Or maybe asking for help when you're swamped. That takes courage sometimes.
Exactly. Or owning up when you've messed up. These might feel small individually, right? But doing them consistently over time, that builds that inner resilience, that confidence, so you're ready for bigger things later.
That makes so much sense. It takes the pressure off needing to suddenly be this incredibly brave person overnight.
Right.
It's about those small, steady efforts adding up. Okay, so how does this play out in relationships? Because that's often where we feel most exposed, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. Relationships are like a real training ground for courage. Rachel mentioned how much courage it takes just to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
To be really honest about how you feel, to open up your heart, even knowing, you might get hurt. Just reaching out authentically, that takes bravery.
It really, really does. And David had some super practical examples, too. Ones I think lots of you listening could probably relate to.
Like what?
Like, the courage to actually tell someone how you feel, whether it's good stuff like appreciation or tackling a conflict, both can feel huge.
Mm-hmm. Definitely daunting.
And he also mentioned the strength needed to walk away from relationships that just aren't good for you anymore, or setting boundaries, even if you know it might upset someone.
Yeah, setting boundaries is a big one. And you're right, these actions, while they're often necessary for healthy connections, they carry risks, don't they?
Risks like being misunderstood.
Or rejected, yeah.
Yeah.
Or feeling lonely afterwards. But recognizing those risks and still choosing to act in a way that honors your own well-being or seeks genuine connection, that's where the courage lies in your sort of interpersonal world.
Okay, switching gears slightly. What about work? Our careers, we spend so much time there. Where did Rachel and David see courage fitting in professionally for you?
They brought up some really significant things that might hit home for you. Rachel talked about the courage it takes to leave a job that's just draining you, even with all the uncertainty that brings.
Oh, that's a big one. Facing the unknown.
Huge. That leap requires real self-belief. And she also mentioned starting your own thing, a business maybe, or making a major career shift later in life, going against the grain.
That reminded David told that story, didn't he? About someone going back to school.
Yeah. At 45, because they were passionate about teaching, even though they were, like, terrified of feeling too old or out of place.
That really sticks with you. That willingness to chase something meaningful despite those fear of judgment, fear of failure.
It does.
And for you listening, it might be the quieter courage, right? Like asking for that raise or promotion or pitching an idea that feels a bit risky.
Exactly. It underlines that career courage isn't always about, making a massive public splash. Often it's those personal calls, decisions that line up with your values, your purpose. Even if they're tough or unconventional, it's having the nerve to pursue work that actually means something to you.
Okay, let's go deeper now. What about the courage that's more internal, the stuff you battle inside yourself? What
Yeah.
did they say about that side of things for you?
Yeah, such a crucial area. Rachel spoke about the courage it takes for you to just admit when you're wrong, which, let's face it, can be really hard.
Ego gets in the way.
Totally. And she also highlighted self-forgiveness, the courage in that, and importantly, asking for help with mental health.
That's huge.
Reaching out, showing that vulnerability, acknowledging you need support,
Yeah.
that takes immense inner strength.
Absolutely. And David touched on those maybe deeper, less visible struggles too, didn't he?
He did. Things like the courage needed to face past traumas, to actually work through difficult stuff, and making that active choice to heal, to move forward, instead of just staying stuck. That internal work is often the toughest.
Yeah.
Rachel called it the silent courage in healing. Such a fitting phrase. It's that journey inside, often unseen by anyone else, that demands incredible bravery from you. Facing your demons, choosing well-being, even when it feels just overwhelming.
It's so easy to miss the more subtle kinds of courage, isn't it? The everyday stuff, the things that don't get awards but are just essential for getting by.
What examples of that quiet daily courage did they mention that, you might see in your own life?
They really grounded it, brought it right down to the basics. Both of them highlighted those moments that, well, frankly, many probably experience all the time, but maybe don't label as courageous.
Like what? Like just getting out of bed on a day when you feel utterly wiped out. Or choosing to push through when life feels incredibly heavy. Simply putting one foot in front of the other when everything feels like a monumental effort.
Yeah, those days where just functioning feels like climbing a mountain. It's a good reminder that courage isn't always some grand gesture. Sometimes it's just showing up for your own life, even when it's incredibly hard.
Exactly.
For you, maybe that's facing another tough day at work or dealing with a difficult family thing.
Precisely. It's about acknowledging the strength it takes for you to handle those daily hurdles, even the ones that seem small to others. It's really a testament to your own resilience, your determination just to keep going.
So let's loop back to that key question Rachel asked. Can courage actually be learned, developed? Because I bet a lot of you listening are wondering that about yourselves.
And according to Rachel and David, the answer seems to be a definite yes. David's take was that, maybe we have some baseline capacity for it, but our experiences, the choices you make, they shape it. But the really empowering part, the message for you, is that it's never too late. You can always rebuild it,
Yeah.
strengthen it.
But it needs conscious effort, yeah. It's not
Yeah.
passive. You have to intentionally practice it.
Exactly right. Like that muscle analogy again. It means deliberately making those small, courageous choices day in, day out. Rachel echoed this too. Even if you feel you're lacking courage right now, it's absolutely something you can work on. With intention. With practice.
That's really good to hear. So, okay, for anyone listening right now who maybe doesn't feel particularly brave, what practical advice did David and Rachel offer, stuff you could actually do?
David gave some really concrete steps for you. He said, basically, start small. Pick one thing each day. Something that feels a tiny bit scary, but you know deep down is the right thing for you to do.
Just one thing.
Just one thing. And he also stressed speaking your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, and just taking those small, manageable steps forward towards whatever it is you want or need.
It's like building momentum, isn't it? Those little wins add up, boost your confidence, make you realize, hey, I can do this.
Exactly. And Rachel added such a comforting thought, something I think is really vital for you to remember.
What was that?
She said, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, try again tomorrow.
I love that.
Isn't that great? It's such a powerful reminder for you that even when you stumble or feel you didn't quite manage it today, that quiet resolve to just try again, that itself is courage.
Absolutely. It removes that pressure to be perfect, to be a fearless hero constantly. And David wrapped it all up with a really empowering thought about the long game, about what practicing courage actually does for you.
Yeah, he said something like the more we practice it, the more we realize courage doesn't make life easier, it makes us stronger.
That's key.
It really is. It's a crucial takeaway for you. It's not about magically avoiding difficulty, but about building up that inner strength, that fortitude, so you can face the challenges and actually grow from them, become stronger.
So, pulling this all together for you, our listener, we've really explored Rachel and David's perspective on courage, and it's clearly so much more than just those big, obvious moments.
Much more.
It's that quiet strength you show every day. In your relationships, at work, inside yourself, and just in, getting through the ups and downs. It's about acting even when you're scared, guided by what matters to you.
Uh-huh.
And crucially, it's something you can actively build, little by little.
Yeah, they gave us a really rounded, accessible view, I think. Moving past that old, heroic ideal to show how courage shows up in the ordinary parts of your life.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully diving into the conversation has given you a fresh, maybe more empowering way to think about this quality in yourself. So
Here's maybe a final thought for you to take away and mull over. Just think about one area of your life right now, one specific situation. Where could a little bit of that quiet strength, that courage to take one small step, maybe have that slightly tricky conversation, or really stick to your values, where could that make a real positive difference for you? It might just be a whisper of courage you're noticing. What are you going to do with it?